Now, what about AI is going to take away jobs? Well, in some cases it can, because just like the Industrial Revolution, where a lot of manual work was replaced by automation in factories, there are aspects of what we do every day as network engineers that won't be as pertinent to what we do. So a lot of the same concerns came up around network automation and programmability, and AI can eliminate routine job tasks. So not having to go and do the same task on 100 different switches. Hi, Joe Rinehart here, technical content for AI and data center for Cisco. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the challenges of AI for network engineers, because it's such a new type of topic. It's something that's top of mind for all of us. So a couple of things. First, we'll just do a little intro. And AI, is it friend or foe? Is this a good thing? Is it not a good thing? I mean, just some things that are good to ask. Some challenges with upskilling, which is taking existing skills and essentially upgrading them, and then we'll just kind of wrap up. So like a plan? One of the things to keep in mind is that AI is an enormous buzzword right now. It's pretty much everywhere. It seems to have permeated into almost every sphere. And so it's something that you and I are going to have to deal with regardless. I do think there's a lot of misconceptions about AI, about what it can do, what it cannot do, and so forth. So we'll talk about that. Admittedly, the technical aspects can seem challenging. There's a lot of moving parts, GPUs and clusters and all this other sort of thing. There's a lot of background work, especially coming to model training and such. But ultimately, you and I can position ourselves for the future by at least understanding AI and what it is. And I think probably the best approach overall is to not buy into the hype or be a complete skeptic, but temper optimism is what I'll call it. All right, so first, AI, friend or foe? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? This image you see on the screen kind of looks at the darker idea of it. So the movies and things like that have fed into our culture that the machines are going to take over the world. This will be the malevolent thing. And that's understandable given, the way human imagination can work. But ultimately, it's not how this works. So there's a lot of different myths. One is AI intends to take over the world. It's something recent. It's not just maybe there's this idea that AI doesn't make mistakes. It does everything perfectly. You can kind of think back to Star Trek: The Next Generation and Data. Also, there's this misconception of AI learns the same way we do, and also that AI is always fair and objective. And we can't address every single one of these myths, but we'll try to take some of them into account. So one of the misconceptions is that AI just suddenly came in out of nowhere. That's not really the case, because AI has been around in some form or fashion since the 1940s. The image that you see here is McCulloch and Pitts. They created this model about artificial neurons, and it was mainly theoretical, but a lot of things came in after that. Alan Turing, the mathematician, published a paper not too long later in 1950. In fact, the whole Turing test that you hear a lot about came from him. The term artificial intelligence was coined by John McCarthy in 1956, not 2025. So the idea that this just came out of nowhere and that there's no precursors to it is simply not true. The other one that comes back a little bit to that image that we talked in another show that really keyed in on that. So a couple of things about the reality is advanced AI can appear conscious, but it cannot achieve true understanding and it cannot experience emotions. So even in the near future, that doesn't seem possible. Current or levels of AI are considered what are called narrow AI or weak AI. Cannot have independent thought, still has to have human beings sort of holding the reins. And the real fear of the Terminator and things like that is what's called artificial general intelligence or strong AI. And most experts agree that it's a long way off or even impossible to achieve. So the reality of AI becoming this sort of malevolent force is largely misplaced. Now, what about AI is going to take away jobs? Well, in some cases it can, because just like the Industrial Revolution, where a lot of manual work was replaced by automation in factories, there are aspects of what we do every day as network engineers that won't be as pertinent to what we do. So a lot of the same concerns came up around network automation and programmability, and AI can eliminate routine job tasks. So not having to go and do the same task on 100 different switches. There's AI-related items that can essentially take that work off the table. Job tasks are going to change, that's obvious, but they're unlikely to just go away. It does require us to evolve in our skill sets. Ultimately, upskilling and retraining can eliminate or reduce potential impacts. So we talked about upskilling. What are some challenges with upskilling? Well, first, there are some significant skill gaps. A lot of network engineers at their current skill level are not prepared for AI. And it's going to require the development of new skills and new knowledge. But one of the things is dealing with change and uncertainty, because one of the greatest things about our industry is that it changes and evolves. One of the most aggravating things about our industry is that it evolves. So skills that you need to learn, obviously AI and machine learning fundamentals, how the pieces work, about models and things like that. Programming and automation skills on Ansible and those tools is still essential. Data management analytics is helpful. Artificial intelligence is nearly everywhere now, and most business leaders are very interested in ways to leverage AI. Finding a balance between hype and indifference is probably good, and ultimately, preparedness is key. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this is helpful as we begin this journey on AI together.